Hello, Internet. It's Daniel with Driving and Dragons. And today I'm going back to Servant of Shiloh over at RPG Elite, going way, way back a few years ago to when he started his channel in one of his earlier videos on the RPG Elite philosophy. Why RPG Elites do not play role-playing games 7 days a week. First part. Now we're going to take a look and see what he has to say. I have a feeling that a lot of this is going to apply to the professional game master class on social media. And in particular, your Johnny-come-latelys. The people who have just showed up all of a sudden on the scene. They've got 2-3 years of experience playing 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, 4 years experience playing 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, using it as a vehicle, just riding the Stranger Things wave up to, and the COVID wave up to easy stardom. And they play a lot because it's kind of a job for them, but they miss a lot. And let's see what old Servant of Shiloh has to say about why true elite role players do not play 7 days a week.
Welcome to RPG Elite, where we put the RP back into RPG, giving you tools and tips on how to make your RPG experience more immersive and enjoyable. If this is your first time coming to the channel, I want to welcome you. I am Servant of Shiloh. And for all of you who are returning, what is up, my fellow peeps? In this video, we are going to focus on something I haven't focused on in a while. Now, if this is your first time coming to the channel, there's 3 things that we focus on. I have a video on that. You can go right here. Here. Okay. You can go right there and click on that video to let you know what we focus on, or you can stay right here. I can give it to you in the cliff notes, right? So we focus on alternative genre RPGs such as science fantasy, science fiction, apocalyptic, all these other kinds. Superhero, what's up, what up, and what up, right? So we focus on those genres of RPGs, and we also focus on classic RPGs. Now, classic RPGs are those that are 20 years or older. We put that in the classic category just to expose everybody to other kinds of RPGs. There's more than one RPG out there, folks. There really is. And there's some good ones from the past. Just because something is new doesn't necessarily mean it's all that great.
I 100% agree with this. I think that pushing more than heroic fantasy is one of the best things you can do as a game master. Because, yeah, there's Dungeons and Dragons. And that's the ubiquitous one that everybody knows. And it's easy. But if all you're doing to try and get more, add spice to your table, get more stuff in there, is if all you're doing is saying, well, instead of Dungeons and Dragons, we're going to go over here and play, Castles and Creatures, which is literally just 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons or 2nd edition Dungeons and Dragons with a slap coat of paint and a print on demand at drive-through RPG, you don't do anything. It's pushing the same game. Sometimes the mechanics of the game are what don't fit your table. And you get into it, you start playing, you got players who are good players, who are people you'd like to have good friends of yours, and they don't want to stay at the table. No, I didn't really like it. And it's not the epic fantasy they didn't like, it's the D20 system. So you need a different game. Or it's not the D20 system or anything like that they didn't like. They didn't like heroic fantasy. They want to play Star Trek or Star Wars, or they want to be spies or run heists or something that doesn't fit into the heroic fantasy genre. So it's important to know that you can have other options out there, and too many people don't talk about them because Dungeons and Dragons is too easy to talk about.
Right? We've seen this before, right? And also we focus on RPG elite philosophy, which is what we're going to focus on today. Now, there is another video that I made with the 9 qualities of an RPG elite right here. Okay. And that video is foundational to why this channel exists. And we went through those 9 qualities in a basic overview. Now, I haven't gotten a chance to get back to those, and I really wanted to get back to those. And so today, we're going to go through one of those with the subpoints of that particular quality. So I'm going to go through one. As we go through this, I'm going to go through 1 through 9, and I'm going to give you all the subpoints of why an RPG elite would have that particular quality. So we're going to start with number 1 today. And the number 1 RPG elite quality that we put in that list was that RPG elites don't play RPGs 7 days a week. Now, this probably might be a given for a lot of you people, but RPGs being what they are, and I have seen this time and time again, it's one that we get the easy ones out of the way first, right? So we put them at the top of the list. Now, I got my handy dandy note sheet here, so I'm going to be reading off of this because there's 3 subpoints as to why we have this quality. Now, the number 1 reason why RPG elites don't play RPGs 7 days a week is because, well, we have a life outside of playing RPGs. I mean, we have other things and other responsibilities, right? So we have jobs, we have wives and children or other family that we need to pay attention to. We have goals and ambition and other things that we're doing. And so the amount of time that it takes, number 1, to invest in an RPG, you know, when you're sitting down and doing a session, what? They're going 2-3 hours. For us back in the day, they were like 6 hours. For mine, which I do bi-weekly, they're 4-hour slots. Same time every Saturday, every other Saturday from 12 to 4. So we have 4-hour slots that we play every other week, right? But there's other things that all of us do. We got jobs and all the rest of that stuff. So we have a life outside of it. There was one time, I kid you not on this, okay? It's one time we're doing an interview for one of our slots. We had some slots open in our campaign. So me and some of my longtime players, we interview people to fill those slots. And I have them come in because they're the ones that are going to play with them. So they come in, and there was one guy, he came in and he was, you know, we're getting the interview going, asking him some questions and things like that. And we start asking him about his background in RPGs and things like that. And this is what he says. I kid you not. God is my witness and my players are my witness. So he starts talking to us. He says, well, you know, right now I'm in 17 RPGs. I did not stutter. 17.
This is indicative of a person with a problem. Now, I know that this first one is clearly the obvious one, and that is the obvious point that almost all of us have lives. We're not independently wealthy, or more likely disabled and living on the dole and able to sit there and do nothing but play RPGs. I mean, yeah, we know them. We know the professional student who's living off their $700,000 of student loan debt and spends every waking hour goofing off, playing video games, watching YouTube videos, and playing tabletop role-playing games. But it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter who you are. Even if it's your job to play role-playing games, you're not really playing role-playing games for large periods of time like that. If you're in 17 different RPG games, chances are what you have is you have a serious issue and you're trying to escape reality. And that's not only very unhealthy for the player, but it's also very unhealthy for the group to have somebody like that, because that is indicative of somebody who's going to take things way, way too seriously, but is also somebody who their reason for playing is wrong. It is to get away from life. And that is going to bleed through and affect everybody else at the table and not be enjoyable.
I don't even understand. That doesn't even compute in my mind. And he said that, like, you know, like he was proud of that. He was like, yo, what? What you got on me? I got 17. What? And I was tripping. 17 RPGs. He said every week. Now, some of those were play by post. But let's say, for example, that half of those are play by post, right? So that would mean like 8 of them are play by post. So let's give him that extra one. Let's give him 9 that are play by post. Number one, that's just a lot of play by post. That takes a long amount of time to put together post, write them out, you know, and do it well, right? Even if you're doing short ones, I mean, you're doing 9 of them. Okay. So that means that the other 8 times he's in an actual session. Now let's take a look at this for a second and let's do the math. So if we're running an average, let's say we're running an average of 3 hours per session and he's running 8 of them. That's a part-time job. That is 24 hours a week just playing RPGs. I haven't even added in the time that he does the post, right? We're just talking about sessions. 17. All right, folks. Something's wrong with that. Something's wrong with that. I'm going to get to that in a second. But that's not having a life. And most of us who are playing RPGs have a life, other things that we're doing. So that's one. But number two, and this goes to our whole experience with RPGs. Number two, we want to savor the RPG experience. We want to savor the RPG experience.
Just off the bat, before he gets into it, when I first hear that, I think back to that first point and what I was saying about that guy who's plays way too much, who's way too absorbed in it, way too involved in it. We want to savor the experience when you're playing because it's like, hey, we're looking forward to it. This is our break. You know, we've been working all week. We've been, you know, out there busting the grind, doing real work, dealing with family, kids, wife, husbands, whatever you have. And just like if you're a big fan of football, you're looking forward to sitting down on that Saturday or that Sunday and turning on that game. I'm a college football guy, so Saturday's my day. And turning on that game and seeing your team take the field. If your team played every single day and you were watching every single night, that hurts bad. I mean, I've always been a huge fan of baseball. And it's hard. I don't think ever in my life I've sat down and watched every single game for my favorite baseball team. And even baseball isn't every single day. So you're going to lose your luster of the enjoyment of playing that RPG if it starts to take over your life. But let's see what he has to say.
So what does that mean? Well, that means that we don't want it to get stale. And that's something that can happen if you're playing, you know, RPGs all the time. It gets stale after a while. And I'm just talking about playing RPGs in general. I'm not talking about playing a specific RPG, even though that would be stale, but I'm talking about playing RPGs in general. This is something that we want to savor. When we play RPGs, we want that experience to be something that's special. It loses that quality if you're playing over and over and over and over again, and it just becomes, you know, laissez-faire and normative. All right. We want it to be special. We slot out the special time during the month, you know, and we do this because we want every session to be special. We want to be immersed. We want to have a good time. So we want to savor the RPG experience.
Yeah. He's, you know, exactly what I was thinking. And I would posit this. There are people who use the word burnout. But honestly, the word that they need to be using is addiction. So you do have burnout. Like you have real burnout where it's like you put in so much effort and it's like, hey, it's starting to burnout is when you are starting to lose the fervor for it, when you are starting to lose your enthusiasm for it, when it starts to become more of a chore. And that is often a symptom of playing too much or putting too much time into it. Um, However, on the flip side of that, you also have addiction. And yes, there is addiction to it. And just like most addicts, what you end up is you're constantly chasing the rush. They're trying to escape reality, not have a release from reality, not having a brief reprieve from reality, but trying to escape and hide from reality. And they no longer even get the good feeling of playing an RPG. They just have the momentary ease of the pain of not being involved in it and having rather done something else. And it just like any other addictive behavior, it's like, why does this guy keep shooting heroin when it does bad stuff to him? Well, it's because he doesn't get the high from the heroin anymore. He has to shoot the heroin to feel normal. Same thing with somebody who gets, on a much lighter scale, somebody who gets too wrapped up in the RPGs. And to his point, when it comes to a quote unquote RPG elite, you cannot be a good, effective, and efficient player if you're not enthusiastic about the game. Period. End of story. The enthusiasm is part of the experience, and you can't have that if you live in a constant state of need or burnout.
So that's number 2. But number 3 is we want RPGs to be our escape, not our reality. We want our RPGs to be an escape, not our reality. And when you're playing 7 days a week, all of a sudden it becomes too much a part of our reality than an escape. And we know this is disturbing, right? I mean, 17 games is disturbing.
All right. So he's kind of saying more or less the same thing I'm saying here about he's using different terminology. I was always, when I grew up, my dad always just tell me, it's like, hey, you want something to be a release from reality, not an escape. In other words, you want it to be something that gives you a brief reprieve or an ability to relax or to step away from reality for a little while, not you're escaping reality, like you're having to get away from it. The term escape being a term where it's like, I have to run away from this. I have to get away from reality. No, this is just something that relaxes us and is a reprieve from reality. And he's using the different terminology here, but it's the same concept. We want this to be something that takes us away from reality for a short period of time and allows our brain to reset and relax, flex a few different muscles, and release, get the endorphins of that new, fresh experience, but not be something where we are hiding from the realities of our life, which is what happens with those players who are constantly playing. And I don't mean you work in the industry, because when you work in the industry, you're not really playing every day. You may be physically rolling dice every day. You may be actually running sessions every day, but you're running them for different reasons. You're play testing. You're literally, it's like people think being play tester in a video game would be this awesome job. And then you find out that it's really running your guy into the corner 15 times to see if you can break through the invisible wall or clip through the floor or something to find bugs. I mean, hop up on this same box 15 different ways for an hour and a half, trying to figure out if you can make the character, the model fall through through the box. That's not really playing video games. Same thing with the RPGs. You're sitting there trying to test limits and you're play testing. That's not really the same thing, though it can increase your level of it can decrease your ability to really be a good player.
It's disturbing because it signals that either that individual does not know how to deal with actual real life, right? And is trying to make that their real life, their reality, or there's something else going on. But one thing is for sure, playing 7 days a week, that's not right. There's something wrong with that, folks. There's something wrong with that. even if, because I've heard of this before, even if it's like, oh, well, they're physically impaired, they can't do this and that. But listen to me very carefully. If you can get on the internet and play a game 7 days a week, or if you can even get together with people, then you can do something else. And don't you think you could do something a little bit more productive than playing role-playing games 7 days a week? There's something disturbing about that. You want to savor the experience. So there's a reason why we don't play 7 days a week. We're not just saying this stuff just to say it. There's a reason behind the quality, the 3 subpoints. Number 1, we have a life outside of playing role-playing games. Number 2, we want to savor our RPG experience. And number 3, we want our RPGs to be an escape for us, not a reality. Keep that fine line there, because some of these people, they be tripping when they be playing these RPGs. Just a little bit much. All right. So there it is, the subpoints and a deep dive into some RPG philosophy, or specifically RPG elite philosophy, and why we adhere to these things and why these qualities are very important to us. I hope that helps. Hey, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do you think that there's a problem playing RPG 7 days a week? Or do you think that that's just a fine thing? Let me know. Hit me up in the comments below. I'm really interested to hear what you guys think about this. So, until next time, folks, happy gaming.
Okay, so great video. A lot of common sense and just duh type moments in there. Most of us have lives. The thing about it is, even if you are somebody who literally has nothing else to do with their time, you should be finding something productive to do with your time. I don't care if you're on disability. I don't care if you are independently wealthy and don't have to do anything, whatever the case may be. For whatever reason, you don't have to work. It's not healthy for humans to not be productive. And unhealthy players are not good players. I'm just going to put that out there. That is the 100% honest truth. Unhealthy players are not good players. And you hear this a lot here recently in some of the safety tool discussions, and in some of the other discussions about inclusion, this and diversity, that, and all that kind of thing. One of my favorite newer sayings, I believe, and I've heard it from a ton of different people, from Diversity and Dragons to Legion of Myth to Shauner to even Condor DM, and just all over the places. When talking to a lot of these 5e people, it's the table is not your therapy session. You are at the gaming table, not the therapist's couch. This is not meant to be your mental health stability exercise. It is a game for the enjoyment of all the players available. And if you are that obsessed, you are not going to be a good player for the group. And if you are the game master, you should not allow those players to be there. We all have those buddies. Like, we all have friends that we like to go out and have a drink with. And we all got that guy who's a fun drunk. He gets drunk and he's fun and stuff. And unfortunately, most of us also know that guy who may be a fun drunk, but you as his friend do not need to invite him to go drinking, because you know he can't handle it. If you take him drinking, he is going to get blackout hammered. He's going to pee on the side of the cop's car and get everybody in trouble. He's going to drive plastered drunk all over the road, and there's not much you can do to stop him. He's going to go down the hall of his apartment complex, knocking on everybody's door, singing stupid songs, and get a drunk and disorderly. And he is going to wreck his life because he can't handle his alcohol. And you know that even though he's a blast to be around most of the time, everybody else is going to tie it off and be done, and he is going to be continuing, finding the next place, shutting it down at last call, and just destroying himself. And as his friend, you don't invite him. The same thing holds true with these RPG folks, these tabletop role-playing game RPG players who come in who are playing 500, 600, 700 games, whatever the case may be. They're trying to run 5 and 6 characters. And not only are they not effective and not good players, because there's nobody out here who can focus on playing that many different characters well all at the same time. You can't have 10 characters that you're running and even think, unless you're running the same character or some small variation of the same character in every game, you're not really bringing a great new character to every table. So you're not good for the game. You're not effective. Your reasons for being there are a drag on the atmosphere to start with. And it's not healthy for you all at the same time. So as a game master, you need to keep that person out of your game, because you don't need to be giving a drunk a drink any more than you need to be putting the poison pill into your group. Anyway, let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. I think I'm going to go to one of these channels that I really dislike. I don't know, what is it? Dungeons and Discourse, I believe is what it is, or Discourse and Dragons. I can't remember what the name of it is. But a girl has a really obnoxious voice, and maybe we'll do one of hers. Maybe we'll go to EXP to level 3, which is one of my least favorite channels, or maybe we'll pull one of the big popular ones like I don't know, How to Be a Great GM, or Seth Skorkowski, or Professor DM or something. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and I will see you guys next time.